Whoever is listening, guys, welcome back. We're glad to have you in. This is the Man with the Plan podcast, episode 71. I got a special interview for you guys today. Joining us is one of the Collins Hill assistant coaches, state champion for Collins Hill. This is Coach Chip Holloway. Welcome to the show. How are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks a lot, Grayson, for having me on today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're really appreciative that you were able to come on. This should be a really fun interview for you guys. So I just want to get right into it. Is obviously this is one of the things that you're doing, you're coaching. What is the draw to this, to what coaching is? What's that draw about football, and what makes it unique amongst other sports? Because there could be soccer, basketball. What separates football, especially as a coach, that other sports necessarily don't have?
Well, I tell you, the draw, for me, has always been you get to definitely make a difference in young people's life. I mean, I'm sure all the coaches out there, they got into the business because somebody was a role model to them, a game changer, a life changer for them. It's a business that's, causes people to, they care about individuals. I mean, I always tell the kids just in my classroom alone, at school, you're there for 8 hours of the day. And then the rest of the time, at the house, you see your parents and everything. So you really, get to make an impact in young people's lives. And that's really cool. Especially this year, coming back into it, being at a middle school for so long, you get to see the kids grow and develop I've seen them from sixth grade, all the way up until, their senior year right here, and people signing scholarships and getting free tuition to go further their education. So that's really cool. As far as, being unique to other sports, a lot of sports, out there, they do have team concepts and things like that. But I really think football is unique because it's really a brotherhood. You don't want to let your brother down. You don't want to let your family member down. You're in the huddle with a lot of different people from all different walks of life, and you got to come together for a certain cause. And I think that's pretty cool. Like Bill Curry, one of the famous football players in the NFL and college as well. He speaks about the huddle being able, his own personal huddle gets bigger every year because of the impact he has with people's lives. And then just being able to grow each year and having different members of, that he's impacted being a huddle, and they are part of his life forever. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you talked about coming back to Collins Hill, especially after teaching middle school for so long. What got you back into it? What has this first year back meant to you, especially going on such a run like Collins Hill did? Walk us through what it's been like and just getting back into the motions of being a football coach.
Yeah, because I got out of it for a while. I had the opportunity to open up Collins Hill in 1994. And then I left after a few years and became a head wrestling coach. But I've been at the feeder middle school there that feeds Collins Hill for 23 years. I got out of it for a while to just be with my own children, coach them and further my education. Since Coach Lenny Gregory, he's been there for 5 years now. As soon as he got there first year, he came over to the middle school, introduced himself, started talking to the kids, got real involved, with the youth program. And so I got to build a relationship with him, and I missed it every time he'd come around for the season. I kind of get an itch, I wanted to get back in it. Never did. But a couple years ago, Coach Gregory called me and said, "Hey, we redid our weight room up here. Would you be interested in coming over here and, picking out some weights for the middle school?" And so I started a weightlifting program back, in the middle school and got that going. That really fired me up just to be able to work with those guys. The juniors this year on the Collins Hill football team, they really benefited from working out at the middle school. And so he's asked me the last couple of years, do I want to get back? I said no. My son was playing some high school golf. I didn't want to miss that. My daughter dancing and things. So this year I said, you know what? They're both, my daughter's a senior now in high school. My son's in college. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to get back. And especially since they went to state last year and fell a little short. So What has it meant to get back? I tell you, going to a state championship, that's every coach's dream, high school championship. When I was at University of Georgia, I was blessed enough to be able to work with Clark Central, which is right next to University of Georgia, a high school, legendary coach Billy Henderson. We went to the state championship, and that was in 1992. And we fell short to Valdosta by 3 points. We lost 17-14. So trying to get back to that 15th game, I mean, I've been trying to do that my entire career. That's everybody's, like I said, dream to get back. And Coach Gregory allowed me the opportunity to coach this, be a part of this team this year. And I'm just very blessed. It's meant a lot. It's pretty cool.
It's cool to read about the stories and how much Collins Hill has transformed football in Georgia. So I want you to talk to the audience about what your role has been in this first year and that developmental role that's really vital to the program's longevity. Who will be the next Sam Horn of the team? Who will be the next Travis Hunter making big plays? Talk about us about that role and what it really just means to you that you potentially are fostering the next big star of Collins Hill football.
Yeah, that's a good question. When I got back this year, my background's always kind of been the offensive line, but coach, wanted me to do some other things. And I was able to help the mainly the ninth grade team, quarterbacks and running backs and receivers, the long snappers with the varsity. And so, I helped call the ninth grade offensive games and things like that. And during varsity, my main job was the varsity games and preparation going into it was to, keep up with the stats of all the players, the special players, the receivers, quarterbacks, and things like that. Seeing, how many yards we've had rushing and passing, and how many times have we thrown to this certain player, and Sam's stats of passes thrown. And completion ratios and things like that. And then at halftime, we'd go in and break down, what we were doing well, if we needed to continue to do that, or if we needed to make some adjustments, for the second half. At Collins Hill, the thing about the, elite players that we definitely had the last 4 years here, we celebrate all the great players that have come through the program. I mean, we've had, from the very beginning, like I said, in 94, we had our first quarterback, Patrick Wiggins. He went on to have a really successful year at the University of Kentucky with being a safety. We've had Charles Perkins, play at Georgia Tech. Tamon Fox just finished out his career at North Carolina. Probably got a good chance of being drafted in the NFL. And I'm sure you're aware of Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke came through Collins Hill, played for the Washington football team this year. So we work very hard and take a lot of pride in developing the next, elite player through our weight room. We have great trainers, Coach John and Coach Rachel. They're constantly talking to the players about, nutrition, hydration. And so we just take a lot of pride in that. And, hopefully we'll have those elite players because they are important for sure to the program.
Yeah, and making sure they start early and get into that weight room, get that training that is so crucial. It's to just develop those habits, develop that work ethic, because it's so crucial when they get older, the senior and junior, because then they know what to expect and they kind of have they can guide the next generation per se and have that expectation of what is needed to win a state championship. And now y'all have exactly that kind of template. So it's really crucial to get the younger guys involved as early as possible.
Yeah,
so kind of along those lines, what would you summarize the culture as like at Collins Hill? Is it a championship like culture? Like, what would you describe it in like a couple sentences? What would you say the culture could be like at Collins Hill?
Well, the culture, it all starts with Coach Lenny Gregory. I mean, when he got there 5 years ago, he took over a team that was 2-8. Sam's team, when they were eighth graders, they went 1-9. All right. So it's crazy.
I feel that.
A lot of when Coach got there were a lot of players. They were just, our colors are green, black, and silver. They were in workouts and things. They were wearing red and blue and orange and maroon, just all these different colors of all the opponents that we play. And he said, that's it. If you're going to be with us, we're wearing these colors wherever we walk, and we're going to talk the talk. So he started a leadership group. The captains, the leaders of the team, they came up with their own creed that they, would recite and say, win or lose. They recited the creed every time after the prayer and things like that. They had a lot of individual people on the team when he first got there. So he said, no more. We're going to focus mainly on the positives and not deal with negative type of things. And we're all going to be a team together. So they really bought into it. And like I said, they just kept on with the hard work and everybody bought into it. So
yeah, so that creed, it sounds like really the idea was making sure that every person on that roster felt like they were contributing to that championship success, because no matter if you're like the third string or the first string, you put in that same amount of work, everybody will be chipping in and it'll feel very much earned. So I'm sure that especially at the end of that year, 15-game schedule, you feel like you're a part of it no matter what kind of role was established.
Right. Everybody had a role. You're exactly right. And he would remind us of that. Everybody is important. Everybody. Every coach, every player, every person that was out there. So
that's great. And I read something that y'all were playing a national schedule, going to these different stadiums, playing in Vegas. We talked about that. What was that like, the dynamic for the players? That's such an experience and such a, I couldn't imagine when I played high school football being like, hey, you're even going out of the state was such a cool thing to go play Augusta Christian, but going to like Vegas, that would have been so cool. So tell us what that was like for not only the coaches, the players, and like, I just can't believe it. It's just, I can't put into words, especially as a high school kid. That's an unbelievable experience. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Of all my years, I never thought it'd be something like this for sure. Like you said, getting back into it, but we had the opportunity. We first, we opened up Mercedes-Benz. We got to play a Freedom Bowl, which was local at the Milton High School, who we ended up, beating for the state championship. But at the Freedom Bowl there, we played Greenville Christian out of Mississippi. And like I said, being local TV channel throughout the year, we were on ESPN against North Gwinnett. At the North Gwinnett game, Kirby Smart, he flew in a helicopter and landed on the practice field and came on our sideline during the game, being nationally ranked. I mean, wow, it was something. So Coach Gregory always did a great job keeping everybody focused, one game at a time, not looking ahead. He would always tell them, let's worry about going 1-0 tonight. Tonight is the night to go 1-0. And showcasing, he always said that, you have an opportunity. Nothing, we may never get this chance again. And I always thought that as a coach. I was like, I don't see that happening. So the kids, you're never going to get a chance to do this again. So go showcase. You want to earn a scholarship. You want to, put your name out there. This is the night to do it. You're on national TV. Go be great. And, the details were everything. I mean, as far as the coaching staff, they just did a great job planning, everything, because a lot goes into it.
It really seems like Coach Gregory keeps it in perspective, because I feel like it'd be very easy to kind of get starstruck by the moment, especially going to Mercedes-Benz. I mean, I've watched my Patriots play the Falcons there. I wouldn't be used to being on the sidelines and being able to overlook everything. That just seems like an experience out of a body almost. It just seems unbelievable. So another thing that is very fascinating about this interview that I'm really excited for is that Georgia high school football is its own different breed. It is just insane. It stands out as one of the top states in the country, especially for that sport. Recruiting, got guys like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields coming out of there, 2 starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Just to name those 2, you could go for hours about the products that Georgia's had. So with you coming back and going from week to week against these teams that Collins Hill has played, is that an accurate assessment? Or would you say that you've seen like maybe a team from Florida or a team from Mississippi that's just really caught your attention?
Yeah, I mean, Georgia football, in my opinion, it's got to be the best in the state, for sure. I mean, in the nation. And I mean, even from growing up, when I was back in school, it was Valdosta. I mean, Valdosta nationally ranked all the time. just a powerhouse down there in South Georgia. So, I mean, yeah, with no doubt. I looked up the other day, it was like 29 players just from our county alone in Gwinnett County, all right, that are in the NFL. 9 are going to be in this year's Super Bowl between the two teams, not just just from our county. So yeah, every week, I mean, you got to be prepared, for a battle. They're going to be elite coaches. That's the thing with elite players and elite coaches. It's gone back and forth. So everybody is coming to Georgia. If you want to coach the best, this is where you come. If you want to, playing the best, a lot of times. That's what's happening in high school a lot now. I don't know, we're going to probably talk about that later, but, kids are starting to shop around, and their parents are moving in. So, yeah, I mean, you got to get ready. Georgia is definitely, an elite state for sure with high school football.
Yeah, it's certainly really there's like shows like QB1 on Netflix that'll like Jake Fromm was there, Justin Fields, they were both featured in that show. Right. And just seeing and I come from a smaller school, so football is not necessarily, we had a good little program, but it is not like the Georgia programs are unreal. Like I couldn't even put into words oh man, the facilities, just it's like almost like a small college. It's
the training, the facilities, like I said, the coaches, it's and then you got the competition. I mean, everybody, especially in our county, in the metro area. I mean, the southern part of state used to, thrive and win the state championships, but it's moved up north. I mean, we've got teams, you got Parkview, Brookwood, these teams have, won state several times. You got Buford, who's in another classification, although they're moving up this year. They've, state championship after state championship. I mean, it's something else.
Yeah. I want to know about, like, because high school football, it feels like more than anything else, the community that surrounds it is very much involved. So when a team like Collins Hill wins state championship, it's a big deal. What does it mean to that community overall, to people that that are been following Collins Hill, have their kids in that program? What did it mean for like the parents and just people that alums of the school? Because it had to be just a momentous occasion.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you win the big prize. I mean, like I said, I was there in '94, and it's been a long time coming. The Collins Hill got to the semi a couple times. But again, the cool thing, like I said earlier, Sam and that group of seniors, they were 1-9 as 8th graders. So you can imagine what it meant to them alone coming so far. I mean, they grew up, in that middle school. They stuck together. They continue to work to get better. So to be the best team this year and the best coaches, I mean, they like I said, they formed a brotherhood. Really believe that one of the big differences in that team compared to, other teams in the area are the teams that we're playing. I really think that was the difference. Like you said, community. Those boys, they've been together. They stayed together. They didn't shop around. A bunch of people, they didn't leave and say, well, we went 1-9 as 8th graders. I'm going to go over here to, play at Grayson High School or something like that. They stayed there. So, I mean, all their sacrifice, staying in, buying into what Coach Gregory and the staff, what they were, selling the kids. At my school alone, at the middle school, I mean, you could hear the buzz all year. Everybody was asking me, about the game that the week before, who we got this week, what channel we're going to be on. I mean, there was a lot of buzz. So the community was just, every time we went on an away game, we had the band, the cheerleaders in the parking lot with a send off. I mean, it was just really cool. So, I mean, I think a lot of people felt the championship win, just not the players and the coaches, but the community. I mean, we've got a church that's close by, North Metro. They do a lot for us with the pastor there and everything. He's been with the Collins Hill football since '94. And so everybody was just thrilled. It was big time.
It's a different experience for sure, because it beats, I think there's a certain, like college football, you've got this certain novelty to it. The NFL, there's a certain novelty to it. But high school football, it feels more personal because there's more of an opportunity for parents and kids. like kids like wouldn't necessarily play college football, but they get that chance to be in a high school program. I mean, me and my friends still talk about our playing days in high school football. So to be able to be a part of a state championship team, I can't imagine what that feeling's like. It's got to be undescribable.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's something that, nobody will ever forget, and, be able to talk about for years. Like you said, that's pretty special.
Yeah. So we talked about how every player on this Collins Hill team has a significant role, but I want you to talk to me about the obviously the two standouts that we talked about, Sam Horn and Travis Hunter. What have these guys meant to this team, and what did their legacy, I want to say more specifically, what does that mean for the school moving forward? Do you see a more wave of transfers coming in saying, oh, hey, these two guys had really great success here and are playing at a high level? Do you see that having a big like domino effect moving forward?
It's hard to say on that. But I will say, these players, like Coach Gregory has said several times, they're elite players. I mean, and not so much that it just happened. Most elite players, it doesn't just happen. They study the game of football. They truly love, football. The huddle, program that everybody, we watch film, and you can track the players and see how long minutes they've had in it. Those two guys definitely, and definitely Travis has had the most minutes in there. They study the game. They love the game. They really, truly care about their teammates. There were several times this year that I actually heard them and other players, because like you said, it's a trickle effect. Their leadership, they said, we're going to win the state championship. And they would say, we're going to win it for you. We're going to win it for you, coach, or whatever it was, which was pretty cool. They definitely they've rejuvenated, the urgency to be the best you can be. And the thing is, to be the best, you got to practice like you're the best. And so, every day they gave it everything they had. But at the same time, as a high school football player, they really had a fun time with it. You got to have fun. And it was pretty cool. I want to share this one thing. They did this probably almost every day, especially during summer workouts. They would have, when there was a water break or whatnot, they would stand at the 50, sometimes on the 45 on the other side, and they would hit Sam and Travis would both throw the ball and try to hit the crossbar on the field goal, and they would do it. I mean, if they had, if they had 10 tries, they might do it twice. I mean, and the thing is, other kids, they'd get water real quick, but they'd want to come out there and be a part of that. And they just had a great time, and their tempo, that they set for the team, and the speed they played the game, it was really good. They held everybody to high expectations,
Yeah, it must have been really fascinating watching those guys and being able to see that mentality, that mindset, that ethic, that work ethic, and see that be translated to the next level and say, hey, they started at Collins Hill. This is where they became the players that they've become. So it really, I would think, like resonate with the program, and just overall, it's going to make a big impact moving forward. But as for a couple final questions, I got one that I'm going to save for as a little just a prediction from you. But this one, so we've seen college football in the last year. It's kind of undergone an identity change in a sense. With NIL, players are now being able to monetize themselves, and it's becoming more of a business. And not saying that high school will start exactly copying this, but do you see high school football, especially with these transfers? A lot of different schools are becoming this is the place. I would say IMG comes to mind as one of those places. Collins Hill is going to become one of those places. There's schools in Nevada. Bishop Gorman comes to mind. Like, just these are the marquee schools if you want to play college football. Do you see a almost transfer of an identity to where kind of high school football loses that novelty and just becomes these are the schools to go to? Or do you think that high school football is not changing and you really can't change what makes it so special?
Yeah, I know, golly. I hope not. I really hope it doesn't become like that. I really don't. Like I was saying earlier, kids, they do shop around, sometimes for the best program or who just won or the premier coach went here, and it just, some of that just drives me crazy. I mean, it really does take the fun out of it, because that's the thing that's so special about high school, the way it's been, the history of it. You don't get to recruit anybody,
Right.
You're not supposed to, you don't get to recruit these guys. They came from the middle school or the rec departments, and now they're with you. And so here they are. So what can you do with them? That's what's made it so fun for me over the years. Just like, in the NFL, if you make it to the dance, if you make it to the NFL, if you score, you can spike the ball. And, that's your reward, that's your payoff, and do the dance and all those kind of things. But, in high school, you're supposed to, score and hand the ball to the ref and move about, move about your business. So, I believe, with certain rules, regulations, as long as they stay in place, I hope that high school will stay, like we talked about earlier, unique, because that's the thing that makes it so unique. You get to change young people's life, and, later, if they can make it to the college or professional, that's when they can, do all the other things,
Right.
If they choose to or whatnot. So, I hope it stays like it, hopefully.
Yeah. It seems like Quinn Ewers, when he did immediately just from disregarded his senior year of high school football and went straight to Ohio State because of the whole NIL situation. I don't see that as necessarily the norm. It just seems like more of an abnormal, like just very abnormal of like just a lot of people be like, man, just kind of enjoy your senior year and just stuff like that. I don't really see that as I don't see that as high school football because of just that community that, like what we talked about in this interview, all the things that matter, culture, brotherhood, just all that stuff comes together, especially nowhere else like high school football. So
Right.
To see your perspective on it and your hope for it is very refreshing, I would say.
I'd love the kids to stay young and stay, be a kid while you're, still in high school. You can do the adult stuff and everything as you get into adulthood, because like I said, in the community, I mean, it was, my wife always, it was cute to her. There would be so many little kids that wanted to high five Sam and Travis and other players, or maybe get an autograph or a picture or a selfie or something. And, that stuff, that's cool. They should be able to do that in high school and feel that and not make it so big like it is in NFL, and you can't touch those guys. And,
Yeah, those guys have security teams. I don't really think they have security teams in high school.
That's right.
So to wrap up the show, and I really have appreciated your time here. You mentioned earlier the Georgia players in the Super Bowl. I want to know, do you know anybody? Do you know any names by heart? Do you know all of the players in the Super Bowl? Because I might be able to guess a couple, but I don't think I'd be able to get all of them.
No. Let's see. No, go ahead. You go first again.
Shoot, I feel like I don't think this will be. I don't know where Stafford went to high school, but that seems like the obvious one, just because he went to Georgia. But everything else, I'm kind of. Sean McVay played high school football in Georgia.
Since he's our first one ever, is that what you're trying to do? I see your hat you're wearing tonight. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm drawing a blank, so I was asking you. I thought you had the knowledge ready.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a prediction for the Super Bowl? That'll be my final off guard question.
I'm pulling for the Rams. I don't know what the prediction is going to be, but yeah, I'm going to take the Rams. I don't know.
You pulling for Stafford for sure.
Oh yeah.
Stafford. I think it's easy to. I think it's easy to root for either of these teams, especially like Matthew Stafford, all that time in Detroit, and he's very much close to this. Like it's where you are, where I am at, Georgia. He's very much a likable guy. And then Joe Burrow, while I do have my reservations for what he did to Clemson in 2020, I think that he is a heck of a dude and he's very entertaining. And then you got T. Higgins, Clemson guy in the Super Bowl, DJ Reader. You got a bunch of Clemson guys. I think there's 4 in the Super Bowl. Just to you mentioned it, so I thought I might as well bring it up.
Yeah, well, the SEC guys are battling out at the quarterback, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys, that was assistant coach Chip Holloway. Chip, thank you so much for doing this. Do you have any final words before we end the show?
Hey, no, I just, thank you so much for having me on your show, and good luck to you in the future. And I'd like everybody to go out and watch some high school football this coming year.
Absolutely. All right, guys, this was the Man with a Plan podcast with special guest Chip Holloway. I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe for more or leave a 5-star review to let us know that you enjoy the show. Thank you guys so much as always, and take care.